Good afternoon. Welcome to Business 360, your complete view of the stories driving business, markets, and the economy. I'm Apa Ongpin, and this is the Bilyonaryo News Channel. GCash's parent company Mynt hands out nearly 1 billion shares to employees ahead of its blockbuster IPO. The Energy Department hits more than 170 power generation companies with show-cause orders over possible violations linked to recurring outages in the Visayas. Businesses in General Santos City are seeking the national government's help to pick up the pieces from the Mindanao earthquake. We find out what they need from the General Santos City Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And the United States and Iran pause attacks for now as they head to the negotiating table in Doha. GCash operator Mynt is boosting employee ownership and keeping management interest invested ahead of its record IPO. Jillian Geronimo has our top story on Business 360.
Before Mynt even rings the bell on what could be the biggest IPO in Philippine history, the company is already giving employees a stake in the business. Mynt just turned thousands of its own employees into shareholders, awarding nearly 1 billion shares. That's ahead of a listing that could raise up to 80.27 billion pesos, with the IPO expected in the fourth quarter of this year. Leading the pack is GCash CEO Martha Sazon, whose stake is now worth around 2.2 billion pesos on paper. This makes her the first member of management to join the billionaire club. But instead of cashing out, she and almost the entire leadership team are staying put. Sazon is selling just a fifth of her shares, leaving nearly 1.8 billion pesos still on the table. Of Mynt's entire leadership, only 7 executives are selling any shares at all, a sliver of the offering. Chairman Ernest Koo isn't selling a single one. It's a signal investors watch closely. Executives keeping most of their shares is often seen as a sign of confidence in the company's prospects. And it isn't just the bosses cashing in. Those nearly 1 billion shares were spread across thousands of employees, handed out at zero cost. But they'll have to be patient. Some of those shares are locked up for a full year before anyone can sell, a stock exchange rule, since they were granted just before the IPO at a lower price. But the wait comes with a price. When GCash finally goes public, its employees won't just be watching the bell ring. They'll be shareholders in the company they helped build. For Business 360, Jillian Geronimo, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Globe Telecom got a stock market boost as more details on Mynt's IPO emerged. Globe soared by almost 7% today to 125 pesos per share. Ayala's stock also jumped by more than 2%. But it was a softer quarter for the hotels of plastics tycoon William Gatchalian. Waterfront Philippines saw profits slide nearly a quarter, down to 80.7 million pesos due to lower revenues and higher costs. Revenue dropped to about 486 million pesos while expenses rose 3%. The company said that was partly due to more bookings and events across its properties. Despite the earnings decline, Waterfront hotels remain busy with average occupancy just under 59%. Its restaurants also served more than 60,000 dining covers during the quarter. The MCI Holdings plans to expand its oil palm plantations to at least 20,000 hectares to support growing demand for vegetable oil in the Philippines. The company said it currently manages about 5,000 hectares and is targeting full expansion within 7 years. Its chairman, Isidro Consunji, says the project will require billions of pesos in investment and is expected to support its palm oil mill operations. DMCI said the Philippines remains heavily dependent on imported vegetable oil, despite strong local production potential. The expansion is also expected to create more jobs and increase local farm output, especially in Mindanao and the Visayas. Converge ICT Solutions and Sky Cable say their commercial agreement remains in full force despite reports of a partnership termination. The deal signed in 2024 allows Sky to use Converge's fiber network to improve its broadband services. Sky assured subscribers that there will be no changes in their services. The report comes amid ongoing financial struggles for Sky and its parent company, ABS-CBN. These include declining subscribers and billions in impairment losses. The Philippine Stock Exchange Index closes the first trading day of the week in positive territory. It rose more than 1% today, with most indices finishing in the green. Apart from Globe and Ayala, the other top gainers today include Jollibee and PLDT. Jollibee's management had said there's still room for growth as it sees opportunities in underserved provinces. Asian stocks were mostly higher except for South Korea's Kospi. The Kospi slipped 0.2%. This even as the South Korean president unveiled $1 trillion worth of chip and AI mega projects. Under the deal, the world's two largest memory chip makers, Samsung and Hynix, will each build 2 new chip factories in the country's southwest. The rest of Asia, including Japan's Nikkei 225, closed higher after the U.S. and Iran said they would pause attacks. More stories when we return. Business 360. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Business 360. I'm Apa Ongpin. The Energy Department is cracking down on generation companies over possible violations linked to recent power supply issues. Meanwhile, at the pump, motorists can expect mixed fuel price movements starting tomorrow. Chess Sulit reports.
The Energy Department is seeking accountability from power generation companies over alleged deficiencies and non-compliance. The agency is issuing show cause orders to over 170 companies amid the country's tight supply issues, especially in the Visayas grid. These include about 164 generation companies in on-grid areas and 11 others in off-grid areas. According to the DOE, about 60 to 80 generation companies in the Luzon grid, around 40 in Mindanao, and 20 in Visayas are set to receive these issuances. Energy Secretary Sharon Garin said the orders are related to possible violations of the Public Service Act and other associated policies. The DOE says power firms were required to submit self-assessment forms as part of their annual reportorial requirements. The deadline was extended until April 24, but several companies still failed to comply. Garin says the information is critical because the DOE needs to monitor supply conditions, fuel stocks, plant operations, and possible risks ahead of weather events such as La Niña. The DOE says the move is significant amid recent forced outages and prolonged capacity deratings that have contributed to tight power supply conditions. The Visayas grid in particular has been put regularly under yellow alert status since May 12.
As we have seen what's happening in Visayas, our consumers cannot afford any minute of interruption, especially if it's at especially for island, the mga off-grid areas natin. Kasi sila lang yung nagpro-provide ng power doon, wala silang grid eh.
The DOE says companies found deficient will be required to submit an action plan. Possible sanctions may include a cease and desist order, blacklisting from DOE auction programs, or even cancellation of their permit to operate as generation companies. But Garin clarifies the cancellation of permits will not be done hastily, as the government must also ensure consumers have enough electricity day in and day out.
This is a reminder to generation companies that they are public utilities, public services. As a public service, you have an obligation to deliver to the people on demand kung anong kailangan dyan in accordance with your contract with the distribution utility.
Meanwhile, motorists may see mixed fuel price movements starting tomorrow, June 30. Based on DOE estimates, fuel prices may either go down or increase depending on the product. Diesel prices may be reduced by as much as 1 peso and 16 centavos per liter or increase by up to 84 centavos per liter. Gasoline prices may go down by 10 centavos per liter or rise by as much as 1 peso and 90 centavos per liter. Kerosene prices may also be cut by 78 centavos per liter or increase by up to 1 peso and 22 centavos per liter. For Business 360, Che Sulit, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
The United States and Iran have agreed to temporarily stop attacking each other and hold talks on Tuesday in Doha, Qatar. The talks will focus on the Strait of Hormuz. The meeting was originally about Iran's nuclear program, but was changed due to rising tensions in the waterway. The two countries also plan to continue discussions to keep ships moving safely through the strait. Iraq's foreign minister stressed the importance of reopening the key waterway.
From our side, we stress the importance of implementing the understandings reached by both sides, the American and the Iranian, to open the Strait of Hormuz and lift the naval blockade on Iran. As for our relations with the Gulf countries, we do not support expanding the scale of the war. And we did not support expanding the scale of the war. And we also did not support the attacks on Iran.
The number of House prosecutors for the Duterte impeachment trial grows to 25. Isaiah Mirafuentes joins us live for those details. Isaiah, can you hear me?
Yes, isang linggo nga bago magsimula ang aktual na impeachment trial laban kay Vice President Sara Duterte, ipinakilala ng House Prosecution Panel ngayong araw ang 4 na bago nilang magiging private prosecutor. Nagdagdag sa listahan ng private prosecutor sina Attorney Theodore Te, Attorney Reynaldo Robles, Attorney Arnold Labay at Attorney May Divinagracia. Dahil dito, umaabot na sa 15 ang bilang ng private prosecutor para sa impeachment ng bise. Karagdagan pa rito ang 11 na public prosecutor kaya suma total umaabot na sa 26 ang bilang ng prosecutor sa impeachment ni VP Sara. Subalit nilinaw na hindi ibig sabihin na marami ang mga prosecutor ay nahihirapan sila at iginiit na wala naman raw nagbabawal sa kanila na magdagdag ng bilang ng private prosecutor. Ipinaliwanag rin nila na ang mga private prosecutor ay pro bono o ibig sabihin ay libre at walang bayad. Samantala, maliban nga doon na dagdag din sa bilang naman ng mga House Trial Spokesperson si former Surigao del Norte Representative Ace Barbers, ibig sabihin pang-apat na siya sa mga bagong spokesperson ng prosecution panel para sa impeachment. At iginiit nga rin ng prosecution na kailangang buksan din ang BIR box na naglalaman ng tax records ni Vice President Sara Duterte kapag nagsimula na ang impeachment trial.
Ayon kay Senate President Gatchalian, aabot ng February ang impeachment. Anong reaction ng prosecution?
Yes, according to the prosecution panel, yan ay depende pa sa ilalabas ng impeachment court dahil hinihintay pa rin hanggang sa ngayon ang pre-trial order mula sa Senado. Pero sinasabi nila, nakadepende nga ang magiging haba ng trial sa dami ng mga ebidensya, sa dami ng mga testigo na ipepresenta kapag nagsimula na mismo yung impeachment trial laban kay Vice President Sara Duterte. Pero ayon mismo sa prosecution posibleng umabot ang trial hanggang sa susunod na taon.
Si Attorney Reynaldo Robles ay abogado ni former Senator Trillanes at si Attorney May Divinagracia naman ay former lawyer ni Undersecretary Cabral. Hindi ba ito magkakitaan ng conflict of interest?
Ang sinasabi sa ating kanina ng prosecution, walang conflict of interest dito sa mga bagong private prosecutor na haharap nga sa impeachment. Ang paliwanag nila, si Atty. Robles, tama ka Apa, siya ang dating legal counsel ni former Senator Antonio Trillanes IV, na si Trillanes rin naman ay magsisilbi bilang witness sa mangyayaring ang trial laban sa bise. Si Attorney Divinagracia naman, tama ka rin dyan Apa, naging legal counsel nga siya rin ni former DPWH Yusek Catalina Cabral. Ang sinasabi ng prosekusyon, naniniwala sila na haharap itong si Attorney Divinagracia para lang sa pananagutan at walang masamang intensyon para sa bayan. Apa.
Thank you, Isaiah Mira Fuentes, reporting live from the Batasang Pambansa. The camp of Vice President Sara Duterte is not against the pre-marking of her tax records. That's according to Attorney Michael Poa, spokesperson of the Vice President's legal team. He did note concerns about how the documents in the so-called BIR box were obtained.
Meron kasing mga restrictions yan on disclosure, diba, under our tax laws. But as far, and of course, without waiving our objections to how these documents were in fact obtained by the House. But we made it clear that we are not averse, meaning wala naman kaming problemang pamarkahan itong mga dokumento na to. Kasi yun lang naman ang pinagtatalunan ngayon, yung pwede bang i-pre-mark or hindi, diba?
The Office of the Vice President has reported what it called the sound and efficient use of its 2025 budget just days before the Duterte impeachment trial in the Senate. In its annual report, the OVP says it obligated more than 92% of its 733 million peso budget, calling it proof of, quote, sound fiscal management. The office also pointed to a, quote, very satisfactory rating in the 2024 annual performance review of the Department of Budget and Management. The near full utilization marks a sharp turnaround for the office. As of the middle of last year, the OVP had spent only a third of its 2025 budget, drawing criticism from lawmakers over its low absorptive capacity. Senator Rodante Marcoleta under fire for plunder. Ombudsman Remulla confirms a case is being prepared against Marcoleta as well as others involved in the ongoing flood control scandal. We have Hannah T. on the line for the details. Hannah?
Yes, Apa Ombudsman Jesus Crispin Remulla confirms that a plunder case is being prepared against Senator Rodante Marcoleta over his alleged receipt of 75 million pesos in campaign donations. The case stems from the recommendation of the Office of the Deputy Ombudsman for Luzon's Field Investigation Bureau to file plunder and indirect bribery complaints against Marcoleta and 3 of his donors. The complaint alleges that former Congressman Mike Defensor, Joseph Espiritu, and Aristotel Viray donated a combined 75 million pesos to Marcoleta's 2025 senatorial campaign, an amount that investigators say exceeds the 50 million peso threshold for plunder. They also recommended an indirect bribery charge, arguing that the donations were given because of Marcoleta's position or potential influence as a public official. Marcoleta earlier denied any wrongdoing. He said the law does not prohibit generosity among friends and insisting that the donations were not made in exchange for any official act. He also earlier described the complaint as an attempt to silence him over his investigation into the flood control scandal. Marcoleta had earlier said that should a warrant be issued against him, he would peacefully submit to authorities. Meanwhile, Apa Ombudsman Remulla also revealed that a separate complaint against an unnamed senator has already been elevated for preliminary investigation, while 8 so-called contractors are also facing preliminary investigation over alleged conflicts of interest in relation to the flood control scandal. Back to you, Apa.
Thank you for that report, Hannah T. Senate President Sherwin Gatchalian is urging the executive branch to speed up infrastructure spending to boost economic growth and job creation. He said delays in public works are holding back employment and slowing down community development. Gatchalian said improving spending is critical, even as the government maintains strict anti-corruption safeguards. Data from the Department of Budget and Management showed infrastructure spending fell 51.7% in April to 41.5 billion pesos from 86 billion pesos last year. More stories when we return. Business 360 will be right back. Welcome back to Business 360. I'm Apa Ongpin. It's been 3 weeks since the deadly earthquake in Mindanao. What is the economic impact on General Santos City and how are they recovering? Joining us is Eusebio Balajan Jr., Vice President of the Gensan Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Hello, Mr. Balajan.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
First off, how are businesses in General Santos holding up since the earthquake?
Well, as of now, I think it's slowly going back to normal. But of course, there are also businesses that are still closed, especially those buildings that are totally damaged. But for now, it's slowly going back to normal.
You're asking the national government and the local governments to step in. What kind of help do businesses and their employees need most right now?
Well, malls, businesses in the malls are still partly closed. There are buildings that are damaged. So these damaged or affected businesses needs government support from the national and the LGU. Specifically, probably they can give businesses a tax holiday for the real estate property taxes probably. And from the government, I don't know how the government can help, but definitely the businesses that are damaged needs support in terms of financial support probably, because since they're not operating, there are business that are totally damaged. They're not operating. There are people who are out of work. So going by their problem, they need to probably demolish the building. They need money for that. They have to start all over again for the reconstruction. They need money for that. So I don't know, but if the government can help, probably support those businesses, would be a welcome development.
Which are the structures that you're prioritizing repairing or rebuilding first?
As of now, there are bridges going to Sarangani, going to Glan, which is most affected by the earthquake. We went there last week. Actually, we can pass through going to Glan, even to Margos, but there are bridges that are really totally damaged. So we need to really rebuild that immediately. So as of now, it's a temporary structure that they're building.
Gensan is the country's tuna capital. How badly has the quake hit the tuna trade, and have shipments started moving again?
Yes, actually, the shipments were affected on the first 2 weeks wherein the airport is closed. So definitely no export were be going out of Gensan. There are also tuna canning factories that are affected, but initially the report is that they're only affected also on the last 2 weeks. Their operation is had stopped, but as of now, I think they're back to normal.
Your chamber has asked for a more thorough or comprehensive study of the geohazard map for Gensan and Sarangani. Why is that important for business owners?
Yes, before this earthquake, we had no idea that Gensan and Sarangani has like a liquefaction problem. There are areas that manifest earthquake fault, which were not identified before. So for Gensan, of course, businesses want to know which barangay or areas that probably will be identified as a new build zone, especially for houses. If it's not new build zone, probably we can use that for other purposes. So I think that's important that no more houses and infrastructure will build on these critical areas. Like there are areas now in Jansan that were shown physical damage by the liquefaction.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, well, that's going to take some science, and I
Yes.
hope you are able to identify those hazardous areas. You're also calling for a tax holiday. How would that help businesses get back on their feet? And do these businesses have a source of capital for rebuilding?
Hopefully, these affected buildings have insurances. If not, even they have insurances, they have to start from the scratch. Even the demolition cost will runs into probably millions. Like the school here that were affected, I think they asked for a quotation and it runs for how many millions? That's for demolition only. So to start again for the building and reconstruction, will definitely need government assistance.
Okay, well, good luck over in Gensan, Mr. Eusebio Balajan. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Apa.
We'll be right back. You're watching Business 360. Welcome back to Business 360. I'm Apa Ongpin. The Department of Information and Communications Technology has asked Google to block the game Gorebox from its Play Store until stricter age checks are in place. DICT Secretary Henry Aguda says that the app is rated 18 and above, but kids can still slip past that by faking their age to download it. Aguda credited Apple for keeping violent titles like Gorebox off its store and is urging Google to do the same while the rules catch up. The request comes after the deadly Tacloban school shooting. Senator Bam Aquino is opposing calls for a blanket ban on video games in the wake of the deadly Tacloban school shooting. He cited studies that found no direct link between gaming and school shootings, saying that video games have become a, quote, convenient scapegoat. Instead of a blanket ban, he's calling for stricter age restrictions on mature-rated games, similar to the rules for films and television. He adds that parents must monitor what their children are playing, while game developers share the responsibility of keeping online platforms safe from malicious actors. As chair of the Senate Committee on Basic Education, Aquino says his real priority is passing the School Safety Act.
Gagawin po nating priority ng inyong Committee on Basic Education ang pagpasa ng School Safety Act. Nagsimula po ito bilang panukala laban sa bullying, pero isasama na rin po namin ang mga probisyon ukol sa kaligtasan ng mga mag-aaral sa mga team building and out-of-campus activities at syempre, mga panukalang magpapatibay sa seguridad ng ating mga paaralan. Kasama na po dyan ang pagkakaroon ng school safety hotline at alert system, pagpaparami ng mga CCTV, at increased presence ng ating pulis, security guard at barangay tanod.
Malacanang earlier said President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is open to proposals to restrict or ban violent online games. Classes at the Batangas City Integrated High School were suspended today following a threat of violence. In a social media post, a student who was allegedly being bullied threatened to stab and shoot classmates. The Batangas City Police say the student is now in custody and that they are working with the DSWD to assess the student's mental and emotional state.
Siya nag-post ng ganito. However, sa initial investigation natin kanina, accordingly siya ay binubuli. That was the initial investigation. Digging pa ang ating CSWDO and ang ating Women and Children Protection Desk officers with regard to the matter. Gusto lang natin makita kung talagang totoo at i-confirm kung siya talaga ang nag-post. As a matter of fact, nandun na din po ang representatives mula sa ating Regional Anti-Crime Division Unit mula sa regional headquarters namin para ma-assess natin lahat at kung sakasakali na makita natin na talagang siya nga, confirmed na siya nga ang nag-post ng lahat ng ito and sa assessment ng DSWD ay titingnan kung siya ba ay with discernment or without discernment.
In other news, the Bureau of Customs has convened a high-level interagency meeting as more than 200 containers of suspected electronic waste from the United States remains stuck at the port of Subic. The summit aims to clarify which agency has jurisdiction and find a legal resolution for the contested cargo. The Bureau says it cannot disclose further details with the case still under judicial review. Environmental watchdogs first flagged the shipments in March, more than 200 containers of suspected e-waste and one of plastic waste, all from the United States. Despite the standoff, the Bureau says port operations continue uninterrupted. The LRT-1 South Extension, common station along North Avenue, has cleared a key approval, moving the long-delayed transit hub closer to construction. The Investment Coordination Committee, Cabinet Committee, has greenlit the project, one of 4 public investments it endorsed in its latest round. The Unified Grand Central Station will bring 4 rail lines together under one roof: the LRT-1, the MRT-3, the upcoming MRT-7, and the Metro Manila Subway. The project now heads to the Economy and Development Council, chaired by President Marcos, for final approval. Discover More to Love. This is the Tourism Department's newest campaign to boost local travel. Mike Arazon tells us more.
The Department of Tourism has launched its Discover More to Love campaign to encourage Filipinos to explore more destinations across the country and help boost domestic tourism. Tourism Secretary Dita Angara Matay said the department has partnered with hotels, airlines, and travel agencies to offer more affordable travel options to the public.
Love the Philippines is still our national tourism brand. Discover More to Love is not a new brand. It is a domestic tourism campaign under that same brand, created to encourage Filipinos to explore more of our own country and discover even more reasons to love the Philippines.
Let's take advantage of the desire of the people to travel anyway. Pero kayo dun sa industriya, magtulong kayo sa amin because everyone's on a budget. So nagulat na lang kami. Everyone went and said we will offer as much as 70% discount.
The campaign currently features more than 3,000 offers, as low as 70% discounts and deals on accommodations, tours, and transportation, all of which are available through the DOT's official website. Angara Matay added that the website is also designed to help protect the public from scams, as the department carefully vet businesses before they are allowed to participate in the program. Angara Matay added that the website is also designed to help protect the public from scams, as the department carefully vets businesses before they are allowed to participate in the program. Meanwhile, the Tourism Secretary defended the government's travel tax amid criticism.
Meron lang pinaggagamitan yung travel tax. Hindi lang kasi ang mali doon, feeling ko hindi na papahatid kung saan pumupunta yon. Because I can see the data, talagang pinupunta sa mga heritage site, cultural preservation, historical sites, pati yung mga yung mga infrastructure work and others. So talagang meron.
The launch of the campaign coincides with the Central Philippines Tourism Expo, which showcases the top tourism products, destinations, and local offerings from provinces across the country. For Business 360, Mike Corazon, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
The country's thrift banks had a strong year in 2025. The Chamber of Thrift Banks says the sector's total assets jumped 25% in that period to 1.38 trillion pesos. Lending climbed even faster, up to 26%, fueled by loans to small businesses, home buyers, and everyday consumers. Deposits rose 26%, while the industry's capital cushion stayed well above what regulators require. The Chamber credits a hybrid playbook, keeping physical branches open while leaning harder into digital and AI tools. Here's what investors will be watching on Wall Street this week. The U.S. jobs report takes center stage on Thursday. That's Friday, Manila time. A stronger than expected reading could raise expectations for another Fed rate hike, keeping markets on edge. Investors will also be watching AI and chip stocks. Plus, Nike reports earnings, a check on whether shoppers are still spending or starting to pull back. And it's a short week on the street, with markets closed Friday for the fourth week of July. Thousands of football fans lined up in Miami to see the original FIFA World Cup trophy. Many waited for hours for a chance to take photos with the trophy, which is very rarely displayed in public. Fans said seeing it in person was a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
This is the first time I'm seeing it, and I'm really excited. I couldn't have imagined it was so big and with so much detail. It's something very impressive, and it makes me feel a lot like in the World Cup atmosphere. There's a lot of joy and excitement about being here in Miami.
The exhibit comes as Miami prepares to host the FIFA World Cup Round of 32 match on Friday. A city in the San Francisco Bay Area turned purple as thousands gathered for the inaugural Ube Festival. U.S. correspondent Henia Espinosa gives us a look.
Known as the Little Manila of the San Francisco Bay Area, Daly City recently turned a deeper shade of purple. More than 5,000 people packed the historic Cow Palace for the inaugural Ube Festival Bay Area. Ube took center stage as more than 55 Filipino-owned businesses showcased creative dishes inspired by the humble purple yam native to the Philippines.
May turon, may mga chicken din na nilagyan ng ube, nakakaiba na ngayon ko lang natikman at dito ko nakita na iba't iba palang recipe ang magagawa sa ube.
I think it's really important to have this event, not just for the Filipinos, but for the whole community around the Bay to introduce what ube is about and to actually make it known to the world that it's from the Philippines.
That growing appreciation for ube is opening new doors for Filipino chefs and bakers. Among them is the ube baking book author Henry Awayan, owner of the award-winning Whisk Cake Creations in Alameda.
With the book being released, how lucky am I to be able to do it in the time like this when ube is gaining traction? So just to be able to share this book on a national level means so much to me, and not just to me, but my Filipino community.
I understand, Councilwoman Manila, you also have a commendation for Ube Festival.
One of the festival's highlights was Bilyonaryo, a special segment presented by Bilyonaryo News Channel, celebrating the people behind the movement. During the program, Daly City's first Filipina Mayor Jocelyn Manalo, together with Tony Bayudan, Chief of Staff to San Mateo County Supervisor David Canepa, presented special recognitions to the festival organizers and paid tribute to the late Pearl Parmalee, co-founder of the Filipino food movement.
Tita Pearl was one of the biggest advocates for us to really push for it. The passion for spreading Filipino food, spreading ube, and making it in the mainstream.
We're about to judge the best main dish, the best dessert, and the best drink that has the ube ingredient. Of course, the star of our festival today is ube. So tikman po natin ang ating mga entries for the best of everything ube.
Bubba's earned most uberific savory entry for its ube chicken and waffles. Sweet Pipers took home most uberific dessert for its ube buko pie. Kin Cafe won most uberific drink with its ube cold brew. And one crowd favorite proved ube isn't just for food. Phil Pop captured the most uberific non-food item award with its adorable ube-inspired barong for puppies. Hopia the dog is proud to wear one of their barongs. For organizers, the festival has grown far beyond food. It has become a platform for Filipino artists, entrepreneurs, creators, and small businesses to share their talents with a broader audience.
Now that we are being recognized, it's only going to cast a bigger net for other future planners, artists, people in the news, people with small businesses to really feel seen and feel appreciated.
What began as a grassroots gathering has grown into one of the Bay Area's biggest celebrations of Filipino culture. In this little Manila, one humble purple yam is bringing together thousands while shining a spotlight on Filipino creativity, entrepreneurship, and community. Henny Espinosa, Bilyonaryo News Channel, Daly City, California.
And that's Business 360 for today. We'll keep tracking the moves that matter across markets, policy, and the economy. I'm Apa Ongpin. Thank you for joining us. Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.